Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Spirit Journey, the White Cherokee. They call me Jake, just share spiritual knowledge from experience. And welcome to the AM work rush, man. Everybody's jetting to get to where they need to be. Welcome to the day. Happy holiday week. Thanksgiving week is Monday morning. And so hopefully everybody at least has a short week if they got to go serve anybody else at all. But anyway, been talking about Kundalini on the past, some of the past videos. So I wanted to bring up some of the downsides. Because Kundalini, your Kundalini energy, your life force energy, when you elevate it, you start kicking that chemical communication in the vessel in those ways to where you can ride that Kundalini wave. It is absolutely majestic. But it does come with a warning, because when you're surging your energetics like that, you know, you're all up in your nervous system. And the thing is, when you're engaging your nervous system like that, sorry for the bouncing, but it's here. Let me turn this down. I don't know if that was even y'all are even hearing the radio or not. But anyway, the downside to the Kundalini, because it's the essence of your vessel. Yeah, so when you start engaging your nervous system on those frequencies, then you are going to start communicating with your vessel in ways that you have never experienced before, or you've only seen on some, like freaky Hollywood movies, and it's only similar, it's not the same. But anyway, when that happens, for those of us that have had past, your childhood, your whatever your life has been, all the traumas in it. If those traumas have not been processed, so you haven't came to any type of closure within yourself, then you're going to have trauma blockages that are nestled in different areas of the vessel. And sounds weird, I know, but it's what it is it's severe emotional experiences that's never been processed for a cognitive closure, an emotional validating closure of comprehension to traumatic events in your past. Okay, see, when you gain closure in your psyche, you can release. You get to a point where it's like, okay, I can see how that happened. I can comprehend where someone would do this, that, or the other, and you can release it from your emotional body. Because ultimately, as we're moving day to day in life, we're moving with our Trinity. It's the physical, the emotional, and the mental, all harnessed within one vessel. But these are different aspects of the vessel, different aspects of comprehension. Some people are extremely emotionally sensitive. Other people have almost no acknowledgement of emotion at all. And these are very serious contrasting differences. So when you get into spiking Kundalini energy, that Kundalini is going to surge through your vessel, and it is going to rattle your cage. It's going to shake you up. It's like being electrocuted without pain. It's such a weird experience. Now, I'm talking about a full-on Kundalini awakening, not just the elevations, because people can ride elevations and be fine. But when you get a full-on spike, that full-on Kundalini awakening, where that pineal gland is ignited and you get that full chemical dump within your brain, that is produced by your brain, by your body, your different organs in your body, when that happens, it is indescribable. I mean, it's literally like being electrocuted without the pain of electrocution. But it shakes everything loose. And then you can ride the high, because it's a high, it's a Kundalini high. It's your own biometrics just firing like it needs to. It's like getting your vehicle tuned up, and all of a sudden it's running great. It's that's what it's like for the vessel until you reach points of conflict, and then depending on how you maintain your focus, it can stay good or it can go bad, because the vibrations of Kundalini they're entirely dictated by the will of the one having the experience. So if you're extremely emotionally sensitive and any little thing is going to set you off, then anywhere you shift your focus that is of an emotional devastation, then you're going to feel that on such an amplified level that people are going to think you done lost your shit, man. They're going to because it is so extreme. And it's emotional energy unlike anything you've ever felt is what it is. It is a heightened sensory perception of emotional energy within your own vessel that you begin experiencing. And you have to be able to maintain the experience without losing your shit. So that's where your disciplines come in handy. So people that have studied or do study Buddhism, people that study Hinduism, people that study the Tao, it's people that study things that have to do with the body's energetics. They're going to be a step ahead of those of us who never studied things dealing with the body's energetics. So it's a trip, but it's extreme. So hang on a second. Alright, so anyway, if you come from a background where there's been a lot of emotional trauma in your life, okay, just a red flag if you're thinking about starting to mess with Kundalini or elevate your Kundalini. You need to know what you're getting yourself into. If you come from a trauma-based background, say an abusive childhood, split family that couldn't get along, constant conflict, anything with conflict in your life that you were never able to resolve. It can be physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, which all those would be levels of emotional abuse. But there's a lot of the world, people don't realize this, but coming from the perspective of spending years in an emergency medical dispatch center, dealing with my community and interfacing with other communities and speaking, learning, training on things they deal with as well. Everybody's dealing with all the same kind of stuff, but all our social cliques and rivalries and everything else, builds boxes around us, and we don't see outside the box. We only know what the media tells us, and there's a lot of inaccuracies there. We used to bitch about it all the time in the 911 center because they would portray things that we had dealt with. They'd portray it in ways that was not accurate. It would make it seem like something it wasn't. We couldn't stand that. But anyway, that's the reality of media. Kundalini elevations, if you come from traumatic backgrounds like that, it's going to be very hard to deal with on those huge elevations of sensory perception, because you're gonna see and feel things on a, think of it like suddenly viewing and feeling your life through the perspective of the Creator. That's kind of like what it is. You're suddenly tapped into your divine right, and then you're gonna look back on your own life through your divinity, through the perspective of divinity, and see all the bad decisions that one made for themselves. See all of the external or outside actions that were being done around you, and that caused you to make such decisions. So there's going to be a gauntlet of, say, like, introspective. It's not like introspection though, because you're just gonna suddenly get it. All the pieces are gonna connect. The puzzle pieces are gonna go into place, and you are just gonna get it. You're gonna be able to see your whole life. For me and many other people that I've heard explaining it, you know, some of us get like a total recall, where, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say total recall, not like photographic memory where every little detail, because a lot of stuff just don't really matter. And then a lot of things do. A lot of things that people think don't matter actually do matter a lot. And, you know, it's the little things matter. But whenever you are experiencing your own life, so it's like having a life review with God, basically, the Creator, not the ancient political position. But when you're in those elevations, and you have to re-witness the traumas, the unnecessary trauma that you went through for yourself, and you'll be able to see where your own decisions made things better or worse. But you also see the selfishness. You'll see how you were never seen. You'll see where you were, but you'll see where false perceptions were guiding whoever you were around, instead of the authentic you, the knowing of the authentic you. You're going to see all this stuff that's night and day, and it's just going to be clear as a bell. You're just going to get it. And when that happens for people that come from backgrounds with a lot of trauma, it is a devastating experience, because the emotional turmoil that it puts someone in it's extreme. It is extremely hard to deal with, and if it's a Kundalini experience, the chances are very likely that you're not going to have anyone to help you get through it. So it makes it really, really difficult for people. So I would just simply suggest to anyone that has a traumatic background to seek that through others that have more experience. You know, something that's more disciplined, something that can help you process things as they come up, so that you can gain some closure and release it, to just work through those blockages as they arise. Because those of us that hit our Kundalini awakenings, our full purges through traumatic experiences, man, it's hard. It is so freaking hard. I cannot even put it into words. It is so hard. Especially when you have no one. There's, you know, all your people turn against you because you're suddenly weird. They just think you're broken. Oh, it must be PTSD, or must be, you know, they're just psyche, they must need a psych ward, they must need this, they must need a pill, they must need therapy, it's all this must need, because people have such a hard time looking outside of their social structure, their box. So they don't view things and perceive things from higher vantage points. They only perceive things through, this is the way my people know me, and I ain't gonna be outside of that. I gotta represent. And that's horrible. That hinders the process of spiritual growth on some deep levels. But anyway, I just want to throw some of that out there. We could go a whole lot deeper, but I just don't have that much time right now. I've almost reached my destination, and it'll just give us something to talk about later, right? So anyway, be very careful dealing with Kundalini. It is a beautiful thing, but it requires a level of maturity. It requires patience. It requires compassion. And then it just requires allowance. It requires you to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and process your way through it without losing control and seeking vengeance or, wanting to punish people, all that kind of stuff. Because ultimately, everything ends up being for our greater good, because all those traumas, I say all. I know there's extremes that just shouldn't have been. But for those of us that have survived a lot of traumas, you're going to find that you're a lot stronger than you ever realized. If you haven't come to that conclusion yet, you will realize that those things have made you, it strengthened you in certain ways to make it through certain aspects of your life that you're going to face as you get older or got older. The conundrum is whenever you look back at it and then you realize that, well, wait a minute, but if I wouldn't have experienced those traumas, I never would have experienced the other things that I needed the traumas to strengthen me for. Vicious cycle. Anyway, y'all, peace be with you. Enjoy your holiday week, and I hope everybody has a blast. Peace. One love, one light. Later.